Hey YouTube, I've not done a video for a couple of days. I've been purchasing stuff. So here is my latest purchase yesterday. This is a washburn. It says axxess base on it. It says, if I can get, so you can actually read it. It's got Force ABT printed on the body. Advanced base technology, so it is. Yeah, so yeah, this is very familiar to me, this base, because that's what that is. This half, so it's got the same bridge. That one was a 91. If you look at the serial number on this one, it starts with a 90. So I'm assuming that kind of, well, assuming that this is 90 and that's 91, it makes sense. It's round about that time anyway. The thing I did notice is this has got like an extra bit here, see where the neck comes into the body, and for some reason I think someone's tried to sand it or something like that. I might have to paint that black because it does look a bit shit, if I'm honest. This is a JJ configuration, whereas that one was a PG. I think these are EMG Select pickups. I'm sure I read somewhere in the spec sheet for it. It's active, or it should have been active, so should have that one, but there's nothing behind the battery box, so it's just passive now. The wiring in this was all messed up. The guy put the pots in the wrong order and stuff like that, and he had put the output jack backwards, so it buzzed like mad. Still a little bit buzzy, but that might be to do with this cheap lead that I'm using. If I go straight to the thing I don't like about this base most, is the position of the output jack. So I'm using an L-shaped connector there. If you use a straight one, you can't lean it against the wall because it comes out the bottom. I don't know who thinks these things, you know, it should be here, or ideally on top. I was actually thinking of, these are like jazz bass knobs, and this one's got a bit of chunk missing out it, so I was actually wondering about maybe just making it, you know, 2 volumes in 1 tone, and then putting an output jack on the front if I decide to keep it. But so this is Washburn post Golden Era. This is when I think, well, I'm pretty sure this is a Korean made guitar. I'm not sure if it's made by Samick. I think later on Washburn, the serial number started with an S for Samick, so I'm not sure where this one sits exactly. The shape I thought was absolutely hideous. That was why that one, the one that I made that out of, it was an amazing green colour. I just thought it was ugly, threw it away, or I sold the body on and used all the parts off it. But actually I'm kind of getting used to it. It's got really good access to the higher fretboard. That's why it's got this extra chunk on the bottom. This extra chunk, this one doesn't have that. So they obviously moved things about a little bit. I changed things over between 1990 and 1991. This one's quite beat up, but a good solid bass. These have excellent bridges on them. So it's the same as the one that's on the double neck. It's like a really super chunky adjustomatic thing. It's got Washburn branded tuners as well. Same as that one. I'm not a huge fan of the 2 J pickups. I would rather have had the P bass pickup, but when you buy these things cheap, yeah. So I had to do quite a bit of fret work on it as well. It was a couple of really high frets, just buzzing out. But now it's working. So it's got quite a thuddy bass, not thuddy's not the right word. Spanky might be a better word. I think if you're popping and slapping whatever you're doing in 1990, this would be the one you want. You know, this is kind of like a sort of, I would term this as a modern shape bass. You know, where it's kind of not really anything. It's just, I don't know. I'm not really a fan of this type of shape. I much prefer sort of your classic shapes. You know, like an Explorer or a P bass or something like that. Not a huge jazz bass fan either. It's got the jazz bass pickups. Also, it's noticed they're at an angle for whatever. I suppose in theory that would make it, the bass strings will be slightly bassier and the treble strings will be slightly treblier, because it's, you know, the same principle as a Tele or a Strat angle pickups. I think, to be honest, these things are just done for a look more than anything else. And I've no idea what the active circuit would have done, because that one had the active circuit missing as well. So they're not active pickups. So I think what it probably would have been like a bass treble type active circuit, as opposed to being like a, you know, boost or actually having active pickups. Yeah, so I've just wired it volume, tone, tone. So this volume's the neck pickup. It's not really very necky. It's quite quite far back. I'm just gonna neck pickup should be here somewhere. If you compare it to, you know, where a neck pickup is on the EBO there, which is right up against the fingerboard, that's a neck pickup. This is a middle pickup, even though it doesn't have a neck. So. Sounds pretty good actually, doesn't it? Since I joined that Black Sabbath band, I've started using the tone controls on basses, and I really am kind of getting used to it. So I was just wondering there if it had a scarf jock, because it's got a, so it does, it's got a scarf joint in it, because it's got an angled back headstock. Very 80s, and then as everyone knows, the 80s didn't finish until 1992, so it's an 80s bass even though it's from 1990. And you might want to have, listen to this, I don't know if your laptop speakers will be able to handle it, or your phone speakers will be able to handle bass. I forgot to turn the volume down on the mic for the last bass video I did, and it sounded alright, so I think maybe it was just the, you know, the mic that was on my webcam that couldn't handle the bass, but I think this one could do alright. It's just because it's so bassy, you kind of want big speakers or headphones or something to try and so you can actually hear it. And because the mic's right there, you're going to hear a bit of finger buzz and just noise from the fretboard because it's not really up that loud. Bridge pickup. That one. Nope. Kill the tone on that. A bit scratchy, but you get scratchy patchy sometimes. You just wiggle it. A wee tip for you. There you go, not scratchy anymore. Okay, still a wee bit scratchy. If you sometimes get a scratchy pot, if you just use it a lot, turn it up and down hundreds of times, it goes away. Not in this case, I might put some switch cleaner on it. But it definitely makes it less bad if you can work it out sometimes. And both on full tone. Yeah, so this is actually plays very well. The looks are maybe a bit, I don't know. A lot of bass players seem to have slightly different views on what a pretty guitar is. Actually, see, this happens a lot with me. See, if I have it hanging on the wall, which I did for a night, and it's sort of there in the corner, I get used to the shape and actually end up quite liking it. It's quite bulbous, but it's like one of those efficient shapes. It's just like, it is what it is. The neck is really thin, really nice. Basically, it feels exactly like that does. That's why you notice me, every time I go up to sort of the 12th fret, I'm kind of being a wee bit cagey about it. It's because on that, when you get above the 12th fret, see where the strap comes in from the bottom neck, it makes it kind of hard to get. You can get up to the 12th, no problem, but then your strap's here, coming up from down here, so in order to get higher than 12, you have to come out and then back in again. But it feels very similar. I did a good job on that, let's be honest. It really does. So I'll not be using this on Friday night. I'm playing with After the End at Audio in Glasgow, so pop along if you want. We'll be on early. I think the doors open at 7:30, so we're probably going to be on, I don't know, there's 3 bands on. We're going on first, and we're going to try and squeeze as much as we can out of our set, because it's quite difficult to fit like a Black Sabbath greatest hits into a 45-minute set, seeing as half the songs are like 8 minutes long. So I think we're going to be going on as early as we're allowed to go on, just to try and get an extra song in. So it'll be after 7:30, but you know, if we get a chance to go on at like 7:30, we will do that, even if there's nobody there yet, just so we can get through more songs. Really looking forward to this gig. Our new Aussie's really good. It's interesting to see. It's funny being in a band, you never really know exactly what everyone's going to be like until you actually go on stage, and then you go, all right, you know, you don't know whether folk are holding back in the studio. So I'm hopefully getting some, I'll be doing some head banging and a bit of posing on stage, which is really what I want to be doing. I didn't at the last one because I was too nervous. But the more I'm playing this bass, the more I'm liking it. This was basically just I was going to fix it and sell it, but it's now sitting in maybe, it is a washburn, it's not a Japanese, I don't think, washburn from my golden era to go with my other collection, but it's just a nice bass. I could argue that I don't actually have any jazz bass pickup basses, you know, with 2 jazz bass pickups, so maybe that could justify me keeping it. And it's covered in dents and stuff, and it's got an amazing, you can't really see it in this video, it's not white, it's got a sort of creamy, been played in smoky bars for 30 years, I suppose. I suppose 1990s, so it's 30 years old. So it's proper vintage. No, you know, you only have to be 20 to be vintage. So this is vintage bass. Just think about it, like when Sabbath started off in 1969, 1970, you did not get a bass as old as this because they hadn't existed for long, even if you had the first ever P bass, which is 1952, 3, 4. You know, it's 50s anyway, so the oldest bass you could possibly have, even if you had one of the pure original ones, could be like 15 years old. You know, it's like kind of mad when you look at it that way. Whereas this is 30, and I think the model is a B20. I'm not sure. And as I said, it's meant to be active, so I'm not sure if there's maybe it could be a B10, but I think the B10s didn't have as many pickups in it. I think maybe it was just a P-bass pickup. Another video this afternoon, trying to spread it out because I'm busy this week, so I've got to see Baby Milk tomorrow night. That'll be fun. I'm in the studios tonight, going to see Baby Milk tomorrow night. Going to see my pal Jerry, who's playing in Classic Grand, Jerry's Son and the Smoking Gun, if you want to go to that as well. Hopefully if don't get too hammered tomorrow night at Baby Metal, I'll be popping along. I think if I do, I might actually just drive in and park like a big Jesse, you know what I mean? Because then Friday night I've got the After the End gig. So that should be good, and it's looking like I might actually get away with just taking a bass rather than having to lug the amp along, even though obviously taking the amp that I've just painted up with the band logo in the front would be pretty cool. Because we're on first and we're only playing for 45 minutes, I start thinking, well, you know, and it's like if you're playing with other bands, you know, there's 2 other bands on, so if you're taking another bass amp, you know, that means there could technically be 3 bass amps, and then you've got to sound check with that amp and all that. So I'm just basically just going to turn up with my bass on my back and a wee bottle of bucky, so I can, and then when we get to sort of 2 or 3, maybe not the last song, maybe the song before the last song, I'll spark my bucky and then I'll get pissed and get the bus home. Way! Rock and roll. So hopefully see you then. I'm going to do another video in a minute because I bought a new toy, which is a multi-effects unit. I don't like multi-effects units. I hate multi-effects units. I've never got on with one. I've never used one. Every one I've ever had, I've messed about with half an hour, got pissed off with and sold it. But this is a bass one, and I'm making the effort to try and fit it in. So rock and roll.